PK Dwyer. I was back in '07. I was waiting on the downtown, or actually, I went down to the downtown 6 train at 96th Street, and I heard this really great music, like his voice and the guitar, and it was so strong, and it was PK Dwyer, and I went down there. I was on my way to my studio, and I heard this guy, and I just had to talk to him because look at that dude, and I was just so curious about what's up, what's up with that guy. I had been in the city for a couple of years at the time, so I was fairly new to the city, and never really talked to these guys and never really paid too much attention to them. I have an affinity with musicians because my father is a musician. He's a jazz drummer. So I always had a connection to musicians. So, when I saw this guy and heard his music, something just clicked inside of me. And I was like, I got to talk to this guy. So I just went over to him and I said, hey, how you doing? And I said, I'm a photographer and I'm doing a project on performers down below. I wasn't doing a project. I just needed to talk to him. And I just, at that moment, just said that. And he looked up at me, and I didn't know what to expect from this guy. And he looked up at me with these clear blue eyes, and he was like, yeah, man, that's cool. He was so present and so cool. And we exchanged info, and I went on my way, and he came to my studio, and I photographed him. He was the first one. And his music is just it's really good, like real bluesy. And he's a soulful cat, man. He comes from the streets, but he came to New York from the South, and he met the woman of his dreams, and they got married, and she worked at a supermarket, and they have a little apartment. And it's like, wow, after talking to this guy, it's just, I realized, like, after I shot him, you can't, it's such a corny saying, but you really can't judge a book by their cover, because this guy was such a sweet guy and had so much soul to him, and his playing was just great. It sounds so good. And just having these guys come into my studio, I specifically chose to shoot them in my studio as opposed to out in their environment, to try to take them away from their environment, because, as it was a good instinctual move on my part, because as I went through this project more and more, I realized that when I talk to these people, they're really on guard because they have a suit, their money is there, they're working, and it's like, hey, how are you? I'm Ron, I'm a photographer. They're really on guard. So just to take photos of them, I thought would be really difficult. So I wanted to get them out of their situation and bring them into my situation. And, PK is just a really cool dude, man. You just can't judge a book by their cover. He has since moved out of the city, him and his wife.